What is going on, traders? Welcome back to IFX. This is Angie, and I want to go over something very special, which is how to avoid big drawdowns when the market is trending. So we're going to be using a different strategy that this is going to help you very much. So I have removed, if you keep following my strategies, I have removed a couple of things in here so that we're able to see clear what is going on, so you can understand the strategy that I'm about to teach you. Okay, it's very similar to everything we have learned so far, but this is going to be just a little tweaking around. Okay, as you're able to tell, EuroCAD has been trending pretty quite a lot, and if you have been looking for sell entries, I'm pretty sure you have been hurt, especially if maybe you've been looking for overbought conditions using the RSI. Okay, so maybe you could have been looking for sell entries in here, maybe another one over here, and this thing just keeps on going up and up. The same thing with pound CAD, it has been doing something very similar, and also dollar CAD. Okay, so of course this is not new with the market, and when the market decides to trend, it's very hard when we make an entry and then we just keep on pretty much be on a big drawdown, and I want to teach you how we can avoid this. Okay, so the first thing that I want you to have is, well, I found this indicator, which is a higher time frame moving average. Okay, so I'm going to provide it on the chat room, but what I'm going to be using is the daily time frame, which is 1440, the 13 simple moving average, and everything else will be 0. Right here, if you like to use exponential, you will have to type in 1, I believe. And then again, if you want to use any other time frame, like 4 hours or whatever, you will have to change this number. Okay, so I'll be using the daily. So that's the first thing that you need to do. Now, the second thing that you need to do, if you see here, we got a couple of numbers, 3s and 2s. Well, on the IFX signals, right here, I want you to go in here and change period 3. I want you to type in 120, and period 2, I want you to type in 34. Okay, so I will explain how we're going to be using this. Now, on the reversal block, you're going to be changing that to kind of more or less match what the signals are. Okay, so we'll be using the reversal block, we'll be using 34, and the trend block, we're going to be using 120. All right, so this is for the charts. Now, if you're using the dashboard as well, the reversal trend blocks, well, I have done the same thing. Okay, so for the trend blocks, I had changed it all the way here at the bottom. Let me just make this smaller. I have changed it to 120. Okay, so right here, higher time frame blocks, 120, and then I made another dashboard for smaller time frames, and then also the reversal block on 1 hour, I have changed it to 34. Okay, both of them, the M15 and the higher time frame 34. Again, I will explain this. How are we going to be using this? So, what is the idea behind here? Okay, so we're going to be using this higher time frame as a nice guide of what are we going to be doing when the price is above it, and then what are we going to be doing when the price is below it. So when price is above, when we notice the price is above the moving average, when it breaks above it, we're going to be looking for, if we want to sell, we'll be looking for information. So we first wait for a reversal, first for a trend block, okay? And then we want to enter on the second part of the leg. No entry in here, only an entry here, and then again, I will explain later. So we're looking currently on H1, 1 hour time frame, but we can also go into a lower time frame. I would prefer M15. Now, once we're above it, we are looking for buying opportunities as much as we can on smaller time frames, okay, on M15 or M5. But of course, eventually price has to turn around, right? So we're not, again, we're looking for informations above it. So when are we going to look for a sell entry? That's the question, right? So we can buy and buy all along, but eventually it's going to turn around. So we also have to be careful how how many are we going to buy, right? I cannot tell you because we don't know how long the market is going to trend, but usually market tends to be in one side, like pretty much going into straight line to the upside, maybe around 6 days, and then eventually has to give in a little bit, you know, turn back around, maybe eventually has to go higher, but at least maybe 5 to 6 days eventually, right? Okay, so let's just go back to an example where we actually, what is it exactly that we're looking for? So again, here we are above the moving average. Now, if you notice right here, we have a nice number 3, okay? We get a trend block. So we're not going to enter here again. Why? Because since market has been trending up, I don't know when is this thing going to turn around. So in order for me to be on the safe zone, I'm going to wait for something like this. I get a number 2, so price is going up, right? We're waiting for what? A nice M formation, right? So here it is. This would be the entry. And the same thing that you're noticing in here, you can do that on smaller time frames, okay? So we're waiting for an entry that is pretty much making a what? A lower highs, right? Something like this, in order for me to finally drop and then either meet to this moving average, right? Or eventually broke below it. But the idea is this. If we're selling above the moving average, we are going to wait for an M formation. Other than that, we're just going to keep on buying and buying as long as we can. Eventually, it's going to start die down, okay? So that is the idea behind it. Now, when the market eventually is going to maybe hover around the moving average, so we can, you know, sell around it, you know, buy and, you know, in here, I would just wait, you know, let's just say, for example, we broke below this 2, so we're making what? Lower lows, right? And lower highs. So we have to be careful if you're planning to buy. So we are below the moving average. It's best for us to look for W formations at the bottom. So at the bottom of the moving average, what are we looking for? We are looking for W formations. We do not enter on the first part of an alert that we get, right? We're trying to alert. We're waiting to enter in here, okay? Why? Because we just don't know if we get an alert and then, whoops, it just turns around on us and it just keeps on going lower, and then we're going to be on a big drawdown that we want to avoid. Okay, so fine. If it doesn't give it to us, then, well, too bad. But if we follow as much as we can the rules, we should be on the good side, okay? Now, market goes all the way to the other side on this number 3. It broke below this one, but if we can compare it, we're still below this blue 3 right here, right? So maybe we can give it a try. Although we are above the moving average, it's best to wait for an M formation. Maybe sometimes we can just see, hey, we're definitely now making lower highs, and then eventually price is already tested the moving average. Price now can just drop now, right? That's the idea. So, or else we can just wait for another M formation and then drop. This one right here, this 3 broke, went below this one, so we will have to really wait and see for a W formation to re-enter. So now, if I go back to M15, we can see it's very noisy, so you have to first kind of understand this on H1 so that you can understand what's the theory behind it, so that when you don't make mistakes on a smaller time frame. But right here on pound CAD, it's beautiful just how you see it. It gave us the trend block on M15. Also, at the same time, it gave us the trend block on H1. Okay, so if I go back actually to my H1, you're going to be able to see it right here. I'm just going to highlight it so that you're able to tell that it happened. So right here, it happened on H1. On M15, I go back to M15. So it happened almost within the same time, okay? So beautiful. So now I can go down to a smaller time frame and then re-enter on these number 2 signals in here, okay? So I'm following not only H1 but also M15 trend block, okay, which is right here. So I buy over here and make sure I also break fractals. I buy over here, I cross to the other side, and then pretty much what are we doing? We're just looking for buying opportunities on a smaller time frame as long as we are above the moving average. Now, what are we looking for? We're looking for M formations in order for us to sell when we are above the moving average. Pretty much right now we haven't really gotten a proper M formation on M15 nor on H1. So right now what are we waiting for is, okay, I got a reversal block in here, but I need to make sure that it breaks below this block right here. Once it does that, the idea behind here is that breaks, okay, maybe it goes back a little bit, and then maybe I get a nice entry right over here. I'm not going to risk it and enter just because I don't know, it can just give me a small entry and then it's gonna keep on going higher. So I don't know, right? That's the idea. Since we don't know what could happen, we're just gonna make sure that we just wait for that. So yesterday, let me just show you pretty cool. Yesterday we got a nice beautiful alert on pound yen. So here is the M formation. We are above the moving average, right? We got a number 3 right here. We got the trend block. We don't do anything on that. We wait. We're patiently waiting, and then right here we got the number 2, which was a what? A nice, beautiful M formation where prices drop again, right? Beautiful. Can we do that also on a smaller time frame? Yes, if we go to a, but we can not actually see it so well. We could see it comparing it to this 3 where price finally was making almost lower highs, right? But it was much clearer on a what? On a higher time frame, this M formation. But it worked very nicely. As you're able to tell, we got a beautiful entry right here at the bottom where it hit the what? The nice moving average. It hit it, it bounced. Now it gave us a nice entry over here, but it was better if we could follow higher time frames. So again, this is why we have the dashboards, where you could actually see what's the trend on a higher time frame. So we can either use the hourly or the 4 hours, it doesn't really matter. We can use the right here pound yen. You see it was bullish. Right now it's bullish, but yesterday it was bearish. So we could have entered on here as well, noticing, or either you can just go to H1 and then just pretty much enter here, right? Because it clearly gave us the M formation. Now, what's the idea right now? The idea is already breaking this moving average. The idea is to now look for maybe selling opportunities, because maybe we want to test below here, this moving average. I don't know. But if now, market goes up, if I get a maybe number 2 in here, that is below these 2, so now I can clearly say, hey, we're making lower highs. I can look for definitely a sell entry. So same thing for euro yen yesterday, which was actually not clear, right? Because here we made a new high and then this one finally dropped. So this one didn't really give us any information, so we could have not really entered unless you wanted to risk it. That was really up to you. Pound New Zealand, right here, we almost got an M formation, but price kept on going higher, unfortunately. So now we just have to wait for a block formation and kind of see what is going on. But we could have gotten into a buy entry right here, right? Or even, if we go to smaller time frames. But this thing, if I minimize it, we have been on top of this moving average quite a lot, okay? So now the idea is hopefully that it gives us a a trend block in here, and then maybe we can look for an M formation happening very time soon, right? Euro New Zealand, same thing. I mean, all of these things have been going higher and higher. So again, I hope you understand what we're trying to do. So just keep this in mind. If we are above the moving average, we're looking for buy entries. And if we're looking for sell entries, all we're doing is we're looking for price for an M formation. We get a number 3 here, we get a trend block, and then we get a small pullback. Hopefully that we also break a fractal. Just keep that in mind so that I know that now finally we are going to break to the downside, okay? Very, very important. So now if we are below the moving average, we can look for sell entries below it. But then if we want to buy, all we're doing is we're looking for W formations, right? We do not enter on the first attempt. We wait for the second attempt to see if it's going to give us a better chance to come back to this moving average, okay? Well, I hope this was clear. You know, we don't get alerts like that every day, but when they happen very nice. So let's take a look at pound dollar for 1 second. Although like right here we were above the moving average, we're able to tell now this 3 is lower than this one, right? It's very current. So this means that maybe now we're making lower highs, and then maybe we can start making lower lows, right? So maybe if we get another number right here, another alert, pretty much, maybe we can start selling on pound dollar. Who knows, right? The only thing is we can tell that we tested it once in here, another time, couple of times now. So now it has some, it could really maybe start to go to the bottom of this moving average, okay? So I was looking at 2 moving averages, but I think by looking at too many, it's just going to drive us nuts. So by looking at 1, maybe it can give us more of an idea of what's going on. We're able to tell pound dollar has been trending quite a lot, has been testing this moving average. Now it's pretty much ranging within that moving average. So now finally we can tell that maybe we're looking for lower highs, right? And then finally you can just drop and maybe test the waters in here to the other side. So it's very, very clear. I highly suggest you go to 1 hour or maybe 4 hours just to kind of see the big map, just to kind of have an idea what's the big picture behind it. And then once you do that, if you love trading on smaller time frames, like maybe M5, M15, just follow the same thing. You just gonna get more alerts, more noise, right? But it's still the same thing, right? So if I go here for euro yen, you're like, oh, fine, okay. We tested the moving average here. The market start trending up. We can look for buying opportunities on smaller time frames. We definitely broke above in here. Okay, we definitely broke above in here. So wow, this is definitely have to be very careful. So I have to look for what M formations, which, you know, this was somewhat an M formation right here. We just need to break below this 2 in order to be a complete M formation, okay, to actually start going lower. That's really what needs to happen. So if maybe we get another number in here that is lower than this one, that it doesn't break above it, finally maybe we can start testing the waters, right, to the other side. So 1 and 2 right here, if you're able to tell, this 3 right here is already broken this MA. So maybe now we can start looking to the downside. You know, do we know 100%? No, but it is a good idea that this could happen, right? So for euro yen, maybe we can go to lower time frames, right? Maybe M15, and start looking for an M formation. So what is the M formation? Again, I already have a 3 in here, so I need to just complete it. I need another 3 and then kind of use that M formation. So like in here, 3, 2, 2 and then complete the 3, right? That's pretty much the idea behind it. So market goes up, right? What's my M formation? It will be 3, a 2, a 2, and then finally a 3, right? We break it, market just keeps on going higher. So now I cannot use this 3 as an M formation. If I get a 3 maybe in here, I kind of broke below here, so maybe I do have a sign, you know, we're making now a new lows, right? So what you can think of this is that the 2s are your inners, highs, and lows, and your 3s are your outers, 3 highs and lows, okay? So 2s are inner, high and lows, and the 3s are your outers, highs, and lows, okay? So if I don't break below this 3, if I get a number 3 here, okay, for euro yen, I already made a new low compared to this one. So this is a good sign that I can start making a what? A lower high. So if I get a 3 in here to sell, I might give it a good chance to sell to see if finally it breaks below here, this other 3, and then we start changing to the downside pretty much. So very important, you know, analyze what's going on, use the higher time frame moving average just to give you an idea of what you do, whether you're buying or whether you're selling, if you want to use M formations, W formations, and you can do that using your dashboards, okay? So right here I have M15 reversal block, trend blocks, and H1 reversal blocks, but I'm using it as a lower, pretty much as number 2s, okay? Because I put 34, okay? So those are number 2s alerts. So if I get an alert, I will have to compare it side to side pretty much to my, I have to compare it side to side to my higher time frame blocks, okay? So pretty much something like that. But you know, if you see my videos, you pretty much would get an understanding how we use the dashboard. So if you have any questions, please let me know. If you want to get the indicator right here, higher time frame indicator moving average, you can let me know. I can just post it on the chat room. And like this video if you enjoyed it and if it helps you in your trading. All right, so I will see you around.